All right. Welcome to story time. So, one of the best jobs I ever had, besides this, and like this, I can't even really think of as a job. You know, it's a thing. It's a whole other thing. So, one of my favorite jobs ever was I was a mad scientist. Literally, that was my job title. You can imagine the joy of writing job title, like under job title in any bureaucratic form, that you are a mad scientist. It's a great pickup line. It's just great. And more than it just being a cool title, right? The work that I did there was really freaking awesome. We provided enrichment science education for mostly elementary aged kids. Super, super fun. We'd go into boys and girls clubs, libraries, schools. We would do just anywhere where there were kids. We'd go and we'd do these things. I did a pilot program with the Paw Sox, the science of baseball. Awesome. Did another pilot program at a middle school in Fall Riv, which was super cool. That's another story. And when I started with them, I was still in college. I was studying biological sciences. I was going to be a science teacher, yada, whatever. Not part of the story. And I started off as an instructor. And then by the time I left, about 8 years later, I was logistics manager, program curriculum coordinator. I trained staff. I was lead instructor. And I also did performances. So we also did birthday parties. Yeah, Fall Riv! South Coast, Mass. Providence Junior. Not anything like Providence. Yeah. Yeah, I spent like 20 years there. 18 years. Anyway. We do birthday parties, which was always cool. Oh, side note, I got another story of this one time that I had food poisoning and did a kid's birthday party. I had bad clams, I'm not even kidding you, in, not Swansea, Somerset, Mass. Gave me bad clams. Yo, the Riv will have its moment. It's coming. I hope this year didn't, like, fuck the Riv up forever. Riv has a lot of complicated history, man. There's a lot going on there. Anyway, so besides birthday parties, we also did, like, school assemblies. We did special events, which is always super fun, because I don't care how old you are, what your experiences were as a kid. You remember that freaking magic of you knew that day you had a school assembly. And we wore lab coats and like embroidered on the back, and I always had like really cool hair and of course like different colors, and I had like cool glasses, and I dressed like that anyway, but I upped it especially for performances, and like motorcycle boots and tights and like a funky dress. So much fun. So, you get to the school and you're excited, and the kids are excited, and it's going to be super fun. You always make friends with the gatekeeper, secretary, and the custodial staff, because they're the most important people in that school besides the kids. Yo, I love my teacher friends. You know I love you. And you like unload all your gear. Like sometimes you're in a cafeteria, and this time I was in a gym, and I forget where this school was, but we'll say it was in Fall River. Yeah, we'll say it was in the Riv. So I go and I'm like getting all set up, and sometimes they have the kids sit on the floor, which is my preference, because when kids are sitting in a chair, it is much easier for them to jump up out of their chair. And it's going to happen because I give a good show, and science is awesome. So the chairs are set up. I'm like, all right, and you watch the kids come in, and my style is, I look every kid in the eye. I say hi. I want them to be excited. I'm also reading my audience, right? I want to know what's going on and who I need to look out for. And either who I need to look out for because they're gonna be that kid. They're gonna be like that drunkle in the crowd who's gonna, razz you. Or, seeing one kid, and the teacher's kind of talking to him in that way and puts him in his seat, and you're like, I want to make sure that kid has an extra awesome time today with us, And this particular time, kids are coming in, like, cool shoes, like your hair. Hey, Dr. Smith, great to see you again. And the kid looks at you like you're freaking nuts. It's good. It's good for them. It's good for you. Sets the tone. And I noticed this kid, He's like very poised. He's very poised. He's very calm. He's got his shirt buttoned up and he's got a vest on. He's got very sensible slacks. Very sensible slacks. Very poised kid. And for whatever reason, I noticed him. And he sits in his chair and he's very still. He seems very mindful. He's like 8 going on 88. And he sits in a chair. He's like 3 or 4 rows back, just about 12 o'clock. He's like right to the side of the aisle. And schmoozing, whatever. Okay, showtime. Principal, whoever introduces you. It's really great. You go over the rules, which are pretty simple. We gotta be careful. Safety's important. We're gonna do our best to take turns talking because I really want to hear what you have to say because I know you're super smart and you're really excited and I'm here to talk with you. And, third rule is super, super important, right? Like, you never want to get in trouble for breaking this rule. And that's to have fun. Yay. And then we start the show. Always start with a magic trick. Duh. Because magic is freaking awesome. Also, you got to hook. You got to hook them in. You got to get them. You got to get them right from get-go. So this particular magic trick is a card trick. And you bring a kid up and you force a card on them. You set the deck up in a way so no matter how they pick the card, it's the card you need them to pick. And I ask them, how can we make this card disappear? Without fail, there's always a kid who's like, eat it! That's a great idea. If I eat the card, it will disappear. But only for a little while. Right? Score, you've already made a poop joke within the first 7 minutes. Level up, you're winning. Then a kid will say, we'll rip it up. So shred up this card. And then, without fail, of course, someone says, light it on fire. And then you can talk about fire safety and all this stuff. So, I can't light a card on fire in my hand, right? I gotta put in some. Of course, I have this, false or double-bottomed metal tin. We put the card in there, and I'm holding it, for everyone to see. Card's in here, but behind my hand is a shit ton of flash paper. Flash paper's paper, but it is chemically treated, so it doesn't burn at 451 degrees. It burns at 110 or something. So I got my goggles on. We did the lighter safety. The kid's still standing there. We're going to torch this card. We're going to, make the card disappear. We'll talk about laws of thermodynamics later. Light it up. Flash paper ignites. Huge flame. I'm like, ah! Grab a lid. Put it on the container. We talk about how fire needs air to keep going. Do you think it's safe to open? The kid next to me is like, yeah, open it. I'm like, yeah. And kids are already jumping up and out of their seats, right? I already got these writhing balls of excited, awesome young people out of their freaking minds. It's the best. You open the lid, kids standing there and it's just their facial expression. We don't say anything. Because in there, right, is another card from another deck, but it's the card that the kid pulled and their mind is just blown and but no one else can see. So everyone's all the kids, again in chairs, start standing up. There's one kid who doesn't stand up and it's my friend in the sensible slacks. He's still in a chair. Very stoic. I noticed this. Okay. Pulls out the card. Everyone's like, oh my God, that's amazing. Woo! Magic. I'm like, yeah, magic. Also, science. Science magic. Really, the only difference between science and magic is scientists cannot wait to freaking tell you how they did it, everything they did, everything they found out, and that's really the only difference between scientists and magicians, is scientists cannot keep any secrets. Great time. Everyone's really excited. Great start to the whole shebang. My friend sits down, and we continue with our experiments. A lot of these experiments had to do with air and temperature and pressure and stuff. One experiment is I have a flask. I have a hard-boiled egg. I got to get the egg into the flask. It's my friend Egna. At some point, Egna's in my mouth. More stuff gets lit on fire. Things on fire get dropped in the flask. Egna's on top. Egna falls into the flask. The crowd goes wild. Oh my God! Everybody's up. Everybody's really excited. Except for my friend in the sensible slacks, right? Okay. I'm not going to take it personally. I don't know this kid's deal. Pretty sure I'm giving a good show, but I don't know. Everyone else is having a good time. Not gonna worry about it. Then we got ping pong balls and hair dryers and like making them levitate, like airflow, pressure. Really, really cool. Oop, turn it. It looks like the ball's gonna drop, but it doesn't. Like, again, kids up. Kids are really excited. Not my friend in the sensible slacks. Then I grab the beach ball and we try to do the beach ball with the blow dryers. And it doesn't work, right? And you ask for help, like, hey, who's got a great idea? I play dumb. That works for me. How am I gonna make this work, friends? Shrink the ball. I appreciate that you think I'm that talented. I can't change the size of the ball, but what can I change? Like, you need more air. Yes. You are brilliant. Thank you. Then I say, how am I going to do that? And without fail, a kid says, get a vacuum. I'm like, is the air going the right way that we want it for this? No. And again, without fail, some kid says, get a leaf blower. We're not going to get a leaf blower at this time of day. Let me check my pockets. And I check my lab coat and I check my table. But of course, in my big tote of magical science equipment, of course I have a freaking leaf blower. Of course I have a leaf blower. So I get the leaf blower. You don't have to say anything like for the rest of the show at this point. You come out with the leaf blower like it's a freaking bazooka, right? Kid throws the beach ball. You got the leaf blower. And I talk the whole time because no one can hear anything I'm saying. And even if they could, they wouldn't be paying attention because I, a grown-up, have a freaking leaf blower and I'm hovering a beach ball over this crowd of like 150 kids. What would you do? You would jump up to try and grab that freaking beach ball, right? Everyone's trying to do it, except who? My friend in the sensible slacks. Still, nothing from this kid. Now I'm taking it personally. I really am at this point. I'm trying to be compassionate. I really am. But like, what is this kid's freaking problem? Got the leaf blower with the beach ball. Happened to be in a gymnasium, happened to have my table kind of under the basketball hoop, kind of nonchalantly bring the beach ball through that leaf blower column of air, and the beach ball lands in the basketball hoop, doesn't go through because it's too big, right? And the crowd goes wild, right? Like, I just won the freaking world. Like, even teachers are up freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened. And the freaking kid in the sensible slacks is still sitting there. Just there. Okay, all right, gonna let it go. It's at this point in the show that we get real serious and because danger, which is exciting. I put on my big, I actually have some here. We'll do it. Big gloves like this. Big gloves like this. Don't even say anything. You just put on big gloves like this and your goggles in your lab coat after blowing kids' minds all morning, right? You do this, forget it. You could try and juggle at this point and fail miserably and everyone's still really excited. Grab some carbon dioxide that's in solid form. Also happens to be known as dry ice. Oh, wait, you'll find out. So I grabbed the dry ice, which is super, super exciting because it goes straight from solid form to gas. It doesn't melt, it sublimates. So you have this giant brick that looks like frozen water. It looks like a giant ice cube. And there's just all this fog, all this air coming off of it, and it's really, really cold and really, really condensed, and it just falls down to the ground, and it's really, really, really cool. Literally really cool. It's negative 110 degrees or something. If you touch it, you'll get burned. So I get all serious because I'm going to be bringing this dry ice around, and then there's going to be glass and stuff involved. So we really let's do our best, and it's totally cool to be excited and jump up and down. Try and be really mindful of how excited your body is and still be safe so that we can keep doing the fun science things. Kids are really great about it. They usually are. They're kids. So then you get a hammer, and then that's always really cool, right? I'm smashing up the dry ice, and the kids are just in their chairs, really excited. Because now I have a flask, I have a giant beaker, science-y looking thing, right? Lab equipment. And I very ceremoniously pour hot water and like chunks of dry ice into it, and the hot water makes the dry ice sublimate faster. So it's like all the fog is coming up the column of the tube and is like falling down, and I walk through the crowd and kids are like, every kid is moving except our friend in the sensible slacks and the fog, and we're doing all this stuff. It's really, really cool. I come back to the table. I grab another flask, more hot water. This time, I add food coloring. No, it's a magic potion! And the crowd goes wild. It's very, very exciting. Except for my friend in the sensible slacks. Still just in there. Okay, you get the point. Drop more dry ice in. Really, really awesome. We continue to do the things. Then I add some dish soap. So then as the dry ice is sublimating and the soap and the water and the air form bubbles, right? And then inside the bubble is the sublimated carbon dioxide. There's fog in there, right? And I pop a couple of bubbles and the kids can see that the fog is in there. And I continue to talk about sciencey things, and you can't hear anything I'm saying because all the kids are just like so excited that there's this giant flask and it's bubbling and it's purple and it looks like really cool science magic potion stuff. And I remind everybody like, hey, I'm gonna come around with this. I'm gonna give you some bubbles. I deliver. I promise I deliver. You stay in your seat. I'm gonna give you what you need. I'm gonna bring that science right to you. So going around and it's sublimating and there's bubbles and I scoop and I hand some to some kids, and then they're getting a little out of control. So when it's like that line of like too much chaos, right? I just back away and I just give them that look, and kids are really, really smart, right? And then they sit down, and then I reinforce that sitting down by bringing them what they wanted to see, right? So like we don't even have to talk about it. Very easy management of totally cool shit going on. Go back to the table, have this long PVC tube pipe thing. Same thing, hot water, dry ice, soapy water, and it comes out the lid is like kind of like a shower head. And so just the way that it moves is this like really slow, perfectly formed bubble that like droops, and then the fog comes out, the air comes out. So I go around and I do that, and the kids are up and down, and like kid in the sensible slacks is still just like, couldn't be bothered. All right, whatever. I go back to the table. At this point, some water that I heated up is ready, and I go back to one of the flasks with a lot of soapy water in it, and there's a little too much soapy water in it, which is why I'd like brought it back to the table, because I was like, this is gonna be like slippery, soapy science. I'm not sure. I might drop this. So I add more hot water and I throw a couple more chunks of dry ice in there, and it's a banger, man. It is like over fucking flowing with soapy, slippery, carbon dioxide filled soap bubbles. And like the kids are like, oh my God, it's going so fast. And like, I'm like, all right, I can't, okay, so this is what we're doing. I was like, everybody stay in your seat. I'm gonna come bring it to you. And I can't scoop it because I want to hold the whole thing, because it's just like, it is like shaking in its sublimation. So I'm coming around to the kids and I just give a blow, right? And the bubbles go over them, and like, they just saw 20 minutes of this, and it's like, it's never even happened. It's like the first time they're like losing their freaking minds. They're like so excited, but they know that if they're jumping up and down, I'm going to pass over them. So I'm coming around, and out of the corner of my eye, this kid leaps up and screams, blow me! Blow me! Blow me! It is our friend in the sensible slacks. Now, what I'm about to tell you happens in a series of like 4 frickin' seconds, because you have to think very quickly in a circumstance like this, right? I don't know if the principal is in the room and has seen everything that has happened and that I am freaking awesome and like this isn't weird at all, right? I don't know this. I see one teacher who's like obviously covering their mouth laughing. I see another teacher like this. I'm like, yo, I'm like not gonna make eye contact with these people, right? Because like I see, like I'm here for it. Here's what goes through my mind. One, kids will start chanting the craziest shit, and the last thing I fucking need is a room full of 158-year-olds screaming, blow me, right? Because I really like my job. Two, I need this kid to stop screaming, blow me. How am I going to accomplish that? I need to make a choice here, right? Because there are repercussions for the choice that I make. I will not, cannot be the person that reinforces for this child that screaming, blow me, gets them what they want, right? I can't do that. I can't do that to this kid. I can't do this to every other person this kid is going to come into contact with for the rest of his entire life. You do not get to scream, blow me, and get blown. I just can't get behind this, right? But I really need this kid to stop screaming, blow me. So I very nonchalantly make my way over. And I gotta let go. I gotta let go. And I scoop up the side. I got a fistful of soapy bubbles, and I drape it across the kid's head, kind of like a mohawk. And I grab a little bit more, and I put some on his shoulders, hoping that he will just be like, and stop screaming, blow me, in the auditorium. And he did. He sat down and he was like very happy with his bubbles. And I just made my way back to the table, and I decided that at that point the show was over, and I thanked them all for being amazing scientists and being so wonderful and having so many great ideas and staying really safe and having tons of fun with me. They're mad scientists. Cannot wait to see you again. Adios. Goodbye. It was awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I was really excited.